Hey guys, I know that you're here for the podcast episode. Thank you so much for your support. Real quick, I wanted to tell you about my business. That's Stsg Marketing. When it comes to social media, it's a must for your business. If you're not doing it, you're missing out on tons of new clients and a way to engage with your old ones. So it's just super important. That's what I do. I can create content for you. I can manage your social media for you. I can coach you on how to grow your business through social media organically. If that's something you want a hand with, I would love to help you. Cruise over to my website. That's stsgmarketing.com. I would love to help you. Now let's get into the episode. Hey guys, Skyler Rader here, your host, Sky, the service guy. Thank you again for letting me be a part of your day. Today, I've got Jason Steiner joining me. Jason puts on the most prolific concert of the entire year. It's a huge event, and the best part is it's for all of our veterans.
Sky, the service guy, staying up late at night, doing podcasts all the time, talking about service, yeah, that's right. Yeah, we got the sales, do we got the knowledge to make a bill? We just paying bills, all we know is time will tell. Sky, the service guy.
And here we are, Jason Steiner. Am I saying that right, Jason?
Yep.
Okay. He puts on, like I said, the most prolific concert of the year. It's Herostock. Come to find out, it's going to be a lot bigger than just a concert. He's also a Marine veteran. After doing a little bit of research, I found that out. So thank you, Jason, for your service.
Definitely.
Really today we've got three main points of emphasis. First off, I want to hear a little bit more about your military background. Let folks get familiar with who you are and where you come from. Then I want to get straight to Herostock, what we're here to talk about. I'm like, the more research I did about it, like I told you, the more jazzed up I am. So I want to hear about what we did to put this on, what inspired it. And then finally, our last point about Herostock is, where do we see it going next year? You already gave me a little sample before we started recording, but I got to make you go through it again. So
Definitely.
Jason, let's just jump into it. I had no idea you were a veteran when we booked this. So I live next to Wright-Patt Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio. So our area is ingrained with military folks. We love you guys. So thanks for your service. Can you tell me about how you got into the service?
It was actually kind of a funny story. I was kind of going nowhere in life. I was working for a contractor, making $6 an hour. I got a postcard in the mail that said, "Give me 15 minutes of your time. I'll give you a set of dog tags." And I was like, cool. Dog tags are awesome. I want a set of dog tags. So I sent it back in. Within a couple of weeks, the Marine recruiter had reached back out to me and he said, "Hey, you got 15 minutes. I'm like, yeah, come on down. You got my dog tags, right? And so he comes down and we sit down and he's telling me all these amazing things I can do in the Marine Corps. And I can ride bulls and I can shoot guns and I can do all this crazy stuff. And at that point I was like, yeah, I'm still not buying this, right? I'm not going to sign up, whatever. And he goes, "Hold on, give me a second." He runs down to his car and he gets his dress blues and he brings them up. He goes, "Slip these on and go look in the mirror." So I go in there and I pop them on, button them up, and walk back out. And I said, "Where do I sign up? This, these are amazing." So that's how I actually joined the Marine Corps. I left Mother's Day of '96 to go to boot camp, and I graduated in August. Went to schools to be an amphibious assault vehicle driver. I did that for 2 years, and then the last 2 years I was a marksmanship instructor for our battalion. So wow. I trained 1,100 Marines and corpsmen on how to shoot the rifle and pistol.
Holy smokes. How old were you when you went in?
I was 18 when I joined. Yeah.
Is there anything you would say to a young person who's on the fence about making that decision?
If you're going to do it for 20. Stay in the full time and get your retirement from the military. And that's the one regret I probably have, is not staying in my full 20 and getting my retirement. So
I got a feeling that you've got something way better coming to you with Herostock.
Yeah.
What birthed the idea of this?
It was literally a conversation between me and another Marine, and I'd started another nonprofit in 2019 called the Nebraska Warriors Hockey Program. We were running, it's for disabled veterans, run through USA Hockey. It's to use adaptive sports to help with PTSD, anxiety, that kind of stuff, create that camaraderie in the locker room that we had in the military. We had some issues with it in 2020. Things kind of fell apart. 21, as we were working through the books, trying to get things straightened back out, one of the guys is like, we need a night away, just a night just to hang out. And so that was kind of where the idea came from. And I'd originally thought about doing like an axe throwing contest with just our group. And
right. I like it.
Well, the more I thought about it, I was like, alcohol, axes, and veterans were making at least one trip to the ER. Somebody's going to have a hatchet in the head, So I kind of nixed that idea. And I've got a Marine that lives 2 doors down from me. And he was down one night. We were sipping a beer in the front yard, kind of BSing. And he goes, hey, man, I've got a band that would like to come in and play. And I was like, all right, cool. And I'm thinking, little small get together. We'd throw some fire pits out. We're roasting dogs and making s'mores and just kind of hanging out. And so I set it up with the guy. October 22nd was the first available date he had. And being in Nebraska, you could either be in 6 foot of snow or it could be 80 degrees. You don't really know. So we kind of rolled the bones and we were like, okay, screw it. We'll do it. 2 nights later, he comes down and he goes, hey, I got another band that wants to come in and play. And I was like, well, if we're going to do 2 bands, we're going to do something with this. We're going to make a big night. And we're going to extend it past just our group. We're going to make it for all veterans to come in and hang out. So the first event we held, it was literally a garage party. At a guy's house, a retired Navy guy. He's got a really nice shop set up. We held it out there. We had a food truck come out. We had a cornhole tournament. There was 75 raffle prizes that we just gave away. And it was a fun night. Like, people were mingling. They were talking to each other. There was a lot of people that saw people from their unit that they hadn't talked to for 10 years. And they made that reconnection. And kind of as this was going, I was noticing like there was all these nonprofits that were there that I didn't know about. And I'd been in the nonprofit world for almost 4 years at this time. And I'm like, well, if I don't know about them, how many of these other veterans don't know about them?
Right.
And, so we grabbed the 12 nonprofits that were there and we said, hey, jump up on stage. You got a 30-second elevator speech. Tell who you are, what you do, and how to get a hold of you. So we had every head jump up there. They talked about who they were, what they did. And we actually had people join those nonprofits because of the event. And I was like, well, that's kind of cool. You're giving them another family outside their family that understands them a little bit better than what their family does.
Right.
So that was kind of how it started. And it was never supposed to go past October 22nd, 2022. And we had such a huge response from it. People were reaching out going, man, you have to do this again. Like, this was amazing. It was a great night. Let's, make this a yearly thing. So I grabbed a couple of people that helped me set it up. And I said, hey, do we turn this into a nonprofit? Do we, go all in and actually make this a yearly event and try to grow what we've started? And they were all on board with it. So we jumped into it. We got the nonprofit in May, the nonprofit status. We did advertising. I did like 24 podcasts, 41 episodes in 6 months. Trying to
wow.
This. Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. And like I did podcasts that had nothing to do, their podcast had nothing to do with nonprofits. And now I've got, they're jumping on board going, man, we want to hear about this. Come on in, let's talk about it. So, we had really good response with it, as we were reaching out to people and reaching out to donors and that kind of stuff. And people were jumping on board with it. And we're like, okay, maybe we're doing something that really needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
And the more we got into it last year, we ended up we had about 1,000 people show up. We had 4 veteran singers or bands that showed up. We had 2 bands that they're huge veteran supporting bands. We had 2 food trucks. We had a cornhole tournament. We had skydivers come in, parachute in with the American flag and the Gold Star family flag. We had a ruck march. We had silky hike. We had like everything was happening with this because everybody saw it and they're like, man, this is so cool. I want to be, a piece of it somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
We ended up with, 16 different states that showed up to it.
Wow.
Year one, this was essentially year one for it with the advertising and stuff. So it was really cool to see that support side of it where they realized what we were doing. Well, to back up just a little bit, when we got our nonprofit status, our original name was Vetstock because it was for veterans, and we were playing off the Woodstock name, and well, we found out that there was actually a Vetstock on the East Coast that kind of did the same thing that we did. And we're like, okay, we're not messing with that. Let's change the name. We're going to do something completely different. And one of the guys was like, well, how about Herostock? And we invite first responders and bring them into the fold with us because they see this day in and day out for 10, 15, 20, 25 years, whatever they serve.
Right.
And it's like, no, that's a great idea. And then it was, well, what about Gold Star families? They gave the ultimate sacrifice of losing a brother, a sister, a mother, whatever it is, bring them into the fold too. So we've actually added the Gold Star families and first responders into what we're doing. And we're starting to see kind of a crossover with nonprofits for veterans opening up to first responders and saying, hey, we know you didn't serve in the military, but you're serving every day. Come ruck with us. Come ride motorcycles with us. Come fish with us. So we're starting to kind of see that crossover now. And there's a lot of crossover anyway, because a lot of first responders were military.
Right.
So it was kind of cool seeing that. We ended up with like 44 nonprofits last year that came out and set up tents and, got to talk about what they do. And yeah, I mean, it was crazy. We had a lady, Lori from the Tree of Valor. She came from South Carolina, brought in Christmas trees from South Carolina and set up this huge display of fallen soldiers, of veteran family trees, of the 22 a day salute chairs. It was very, very touching, very moving, piece to what we had. Wheels for Warriors gave away a motorcycle to a veteran that night.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, it was really cool. And we've paired with Wheels for Warriors now, or partnered with them. So they will be giving away a motorcycle at every single one of our events.
Let's go. Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy, and just the response we've had has been really cool. And the people that's got behind it and they want to be a piece of it some way, somehow. And so that's been pretty cool.
Yeah. You're talking to one right now.
Right.
I'm like, how can I be a part of that? That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
And on my show, we talk a lot about sales, service, marketing, and everything in between. For you, a nonprofit, I mean, it's still part of the business world, and it's a necessary part of the business world. People don't realize that you can run a whole organization just built on heart and, dedication. And then, especially anything that's military related, it's different, it's a whole different thing. Going back to the marketing side of this, you did all the podcasts. Were there anything else you did to raise awareness of what you guys were putting on for folks?
It was a lot of phone calls, emails, text, just trying to get the word out. A lot of it through Facebook. I'm not real versed with Instagram or TikTok or any of those. It was mainly just Facebook because that's my era. So we had a lot of content that we posted through Facebook. And it gets quite a bit of response. People interact with it quite a bit. So this year we're trying to push into Instagram. I'm not going to dance on TikTok, but we're going to do some TikTok stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's, the more media we can push out. We did have a local news channel that got involved with it.
That's cool.
The week before they came in and they did an interview with myself and Jesse, which is my event director. He's also the VP for Wheels for Warriors.
Cool.
And they did a really nice piece on it, and talked about what we're doing and kind of where we're headed and that kind of stuff. And We're working more this year on local media. We're trying to get some national media involved to, get behind what we're doing and show people what we're doing and try to grow the brand and let people understand what we're doing and where we're headed.
Yeah, and I was doing some homework on you guys, and initially my thought was, okay, this is a event for like a thank you. And I realized it's so much more than that, because you guys are also raising awareness for PTSD and other things. Can you talk to some people who might not understand what PTSD is?
So PTSD is the wound that doesn't show. You don't see the battle scar. It's an internal, PTSD and anxiety. You run into that a lot with the veteran and first responder world. It's that mental side of it. I can't talk about it because it's a taboo thing. I want to be alone. I don't want anybody around me. I don't need anybody to help me. That's a lot that goes into that PTSD piece. And we've realized now more that it's not sitting in a group setting and, a group counseling setting and talking about what happened. It's finding that battle buddy that, is on the outside that they're now civilians as well as you are,
right?
But they can relate to what you're talking about and having somebody to be able to open up to and talk to them and that kind of thing. So that's a huge piece of what we try to do is we try to bring people together to, we're kind of threefold. So the first part is bringing the people together to talk about everyday issues. It may not even be something in the military. It could be just an everyday issue that they need somebody to talk to about. And this gives them that chance to be in a group setting, but still be able to be on a one-on-one basis and talk to somebody about what they're going through. And it may be a complete stranger, right, but they can relate because they go through that same thing. The second piece of what we do is we bring in the nonprofits to show them off, to get people involved with these local nonprofits that are doing amazing things for our veterans and first responders. And then our third piece is we're bringing in veteran singers and bands to highlight them and try to grow their brand and let people understand we have some amazing talent in that veteran and first responder world that they gave 4 years, 12 years, 20 years of their life to the military or being a police officer or firefighter or whatever it is. And now they're trying to grow being a band.
Right.
And, I've ran across some amazing singers and you start looking into them. Joe Allen Christie's one. He did 23 years or 24 years in the Air Force.
Jeez.
And he's now just trying to become a band and being a singer and that kind of stuff. So, he gave up all of his younger years to the military and now he's trying to pursue the musical industry.
What were you doing with that time in between you leaving the Marines and now?
When I got out, we started a family fairly quick. I got married when I was in the Marine Corps. We started a family right after I got out, and I started my own business being a tile guy, floor guy.
Okay.
So I've done flooring for 23 years now, coming up on 24. And that's kind of where I focus my time and energy. I had a really bad experience with a group when I first got out, and I wanted nothing to do with the nonprofit world. I was done being a veteran or done being in the military and didn't really even claim the veteran status until 2019 when we started up the Nebraska Warriors hockey program. And that it really sparked something in me because I saw the need for something for veterans to, help repay them for what they've done and what they've seen and what they go through on a day-to-day basis.
So I have some friends who are post-military and, I'll give them the thank you for your service. And I genuinely mean it. I mean, it's a sincere thing coming from me and they're my friend, it's a real thing, but some of them almost feel embarrassed to say thank you or even acknowledge it. Like I got one friend that won't say nothing back. He'll just give me the hand,
Right.
Can you explain how, why that feeling even exists?
So,
or at least your take on it?
My take on it is I went to bid a job for a guy He's Marine, hard charger, got the tattoos, the moto tattoos, the whole 9 yards. And I was talking to him one night when I was doing this bid, and he goes, "Why do you do what you do for your nonprofit?" Because I put in a ton of time for the Nebraska Warriors. I was the VP of hockey ops. I was the coach of the team. I was one of the main fundraisers. I wore many hats. And he's like, "Why do you do what you do for your nonprofit?" And I'm like, "Because there's a need." He's like, "No. Why do you do what you do for your nonprofit?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't know. I don't know where you're going with this." And he goes, "Do you feel guilty?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I guess I kind of do feel guilty." And he's like, "Why do you feel guilty?" I said, "Because I didn't go back in after 9/11. That was my guilt, was I didn't go back in after the war started." And I struggled a lot with that at that time, was, do I stay home and raise my 9-month-old son, or do I, sorry, dog saying
No,
bye.
you're fine. It's okay if we got a visitor.
She just popped in by, say bye quick, and she's out. But no, it was, I dealt with a lot of guilt with that to, do I go back in? Do I stay out? Do I raise my family? Do I go back to do what I'm supposed to do, what I was trained to do?
Right.
And it wasn't really until I had that conversation, and he goes, "Here's the deal." He goes, "I've stood in a room with 4 of the highest decorated military men, like medals dripping off their chest, the Bronze Stars, the Navy Cross, the Medal of Honor, the Purple Hearts, and he goes, every single one of those guys said the same thing, that they felt guilty that they could have done more."
Wow.
And it didn't really hit me until I had that conversation that part of the reason why we do what we do post-service is because we felt like we could have done more. So that's when somebody says, "Thank you for your service." To me, I served all garrison. I was 96 to 2000. I didn't see any combat. I got to play with world's coolest guns and tanks and that kind of stuff, and never had to face that bullet coming back at me.
Sure.
So for me, it's that side of that guilt where somebody says, "Hey, thank you for your service." And I've gotten to the point where I'm like, "Oh, thank you." But it's just a reaction thing now for me, where a lot of guys are like, I didn't really serve, or I didn't do this, or I didn't go to combat, or, whatever it is. So it's kind of a guilt thing, I think, with a lot of us that, we should have done more. We were trained to do more and we didn't.
Yeah. When you sign up for something, though, there was so much out of your control. Anything could have changed. I can share this with you about 9/11. So I was in 6th grade, to date myself, tell you how old I was. And I remember the teachers turned on the TVs. They probably shouldn't have.
Right.
And I seen a very special group of people running towards it while everyone else was running away. And that's when I decided I wanted to be a fireman. And I really romanticized this idea of being a fireman. I loved firefighter movies, and literally, I think it was, 12 days after high school when I graduated, I started going to fire school. Turns out I'm deathly afraid of ladders. Like deathly afraid. Like I shake the whole time I'm on one. And I did all the training. I was towards the end when it was time to take the state test, and I just thought, after all this training in a safe environment, I can't even bring myself to, like, what's going to happen when something's really going down. And I've had people say, "Oh, you would have been fine. Your adrenaline would have kicked in, whatever." And I didn't want to deal with the stress of asking myself, did I do something wrong or whatever. So for me, my life took me down a different path with sales and service and business. But
sure,
it's one of those things where I feel kind of guilty. Where it was like, man, like, dude, you set out to do something, you didn't do it. Now I was young, but still, it's something I live with. And when I see a firefighter or somebody who's been in it 10, 15 years, man, I really respect that guy.
Yep. Yeah, because that's a different animal, right? Somebody that can stay in that, an EMT, a first responder, or a paramedic, a firefighter, a police officer, that they see the worst of the worst, right? They see the bad crashes, they see the burned bodies, they see, the bad people. And somebody that can do that for 10, 15, 20, 25 years, it takes a different animal to do that. And the respect level for me to them is super high, because they chose to do this, and this is what they have to deal with on a regular basis.
Right. And they could, probably walk away anytime they wanted to, really. I mean, it's not like they signed a military contract like you did.
Right.
It's a little bit different of a commitment, right?
Yep.
But
they choose to stay. Those guys that do 25 years, they choose to stay.
Right.
And deal with that. So
I was talking to another gentleman that kind of connected with us, Eric Mello.
Yeah.
And one of the things that he mentioned in the message he sent me was to bring awareness of bringing unity in the community.
Yep.
Is that what he's referencing when we have that divide between our first responders and our military folks?
I wouldn't say it's a divide. I'm going to say it's probably more of a separation due to, like, once you get out of the military, you kind of recluse. A lot of guys, you don't want to have anything to do with anybody, anywhere. Like, most of the time we don't want to be in crowds, that kind of thing.
Right.
Your first responders most generally are still serving. So there's a little bit of disconnect there. But like with our group, when everybody comes together, we're all just people that served one way or another, or still serving. So you don't have that disconnect like you have most generally out in the real world. But yeah, Eric's an amazing dude. Contagion Effect is an awesome group. They were the second podcast that I did.
Okay.
And I think I've been back on it 3 or 4 times since then. Eric actually flew out from California to come to Herostock last year.
Okay.
Him and his mom.
That's cool.
Yeah, and he's not military. His dad was. And it was cool to have him out here and get to see and experience what we were doing. He's already made reservations for at least 1, if not 2 Herostocks this year. So
that's so cool.
Yeah.
You'll have to get me the list so I can share that with the in the description of the podcast for everybody.
Yep, for sure.
Because I'm sure there's going to be people like me that would love to come to something like that. Do you have anything coming up my way near Dayton, Ohio?
No, we have nothing north this year. Nebraska, it'll be the farthest north. We're doing Rolla, Missouri, Nashville, Tennessee, and then 2 in Nebraska.
Okay.
We're doing our lake party out in western Nebraska on Harlan County Reservoir, July 12, 13. It's gonna be a lake bash. Like, we've got a VIP beach set up where they can pull their boats up, hang out with a private bar. It's going to be 25 feet from the water. It's going to be the party. It's not going to be real family friendly, I'm guessing.
That's okay.
And we're trying to make these family friendly because we want the wives and kids to come out to it. We want them to be a part of it and experience what is going on and what's happening, and seeing their significant others interacting and having those conversations, and understand that, they might not be able to have that conversation with their wife or their husband.
Right.
Now we're in a setting where they can have this conversation with the fellow military or first responder and be able to open up and really talk about that stuff that they can't talk about with their spouse. And they don't want to talk about it with their kids, because we always want to protect our kids. We don't want to tell them that's in the world.
Right.
But Harlan County is going to be our party. The one back here in September 13, 14, it's going to be a huge family day. We're talking about bringing in ponies for a pony ride, a bounce house, tug of war, a dunk tank, just all kinds of stuff. We're hoping to have around 100 vendors that show up this year. We're going
I
to
can
do,
imagine the tug of war getting pretty competitive if you let the Marine guys team up against the Army guys or so
Yeah.
on and so forth. That would be fun to watch.
yeah, that's our plan is we're going to do like a police and a fire and then Marine, Army, Navy, Air Force. I don't know if we'll have enough to form a Space Force team. But yeah, we're planning on making it pretty competitive. So,
That's awesome.
But yeah, we're going to do 2 nights this year back here. It's first night's going to be a country night. The second night's going to be a heavy metal or rock night. We have a local group out of Omaha that's going to be coming into play for the rock night. So we're grabbing some local talent, but then we're also working with a group out of Texas called Lockjaw.
Okay.
They're a little bit heavier band. I actually just spoke to him today, and he's like, dude, I'm all in. I want to play this. Let's go. I've got, connections to, like Drowning Pool, if you want to bring those guys in. So we're talking some bigger bands this year. We hung out with Bad Wolves at their concert when they were up in Omaha. Went backstage, hung out with them in the green room and stuff. And
Wow.
they're huge veteran supporters. So if we can get stars to line up, we may have them playing too. And then we got guys like Scotty Hastings out of Nashville, and he just signed with Black River Entertainment. He wants to come in and play. Shannon Book out of Texas wants to come in and play. I got like 3 texts today from people that are like, hey, I heard you're like setting up bands. Can I get in on this? And how do I sign up for it? And we have a laundry list of veteran and first responder bands and singers that want to be a part of this.
Right.
We're kind of struggling this year with, well, who do you book for what? Because there's so many great people that we want to bring in, but we're so limited on spots. And then of course the funding to go along with it, we want to pay these people to come in and do this. So, it all costs money and that kind of thing, working on sponsorships and that kind of stuff too. And, but yeah, like this year it's, Rolla, we've got, Shannon Book's going to headline. We've got JB Brown coming in from, West Virginia. He's I want to say he's military. I don't remember what he is. Derek Stoner, Special Forces. He's coming in from Missouri. And then Barbara Simmons coming in. She's a Marine that's coming in from Nashville. So that one's a full all veteran event. I'm actually flying to Nashville the beginning of January to pitch this idea to a few people down there, some bigger people than me, to talk about it and see if we can grab some interest down there. And if we can, we're actually setting that up for August 9, 10.
Okay.
We're going to do a 2-day event down there in Nashville to try.
Nashville's only 5 hours from me.
Well, there you go. You got to go to Nashville then, because that's going to be a big one.
Yeah, that's nothing, man. And I mean, in a big city like that, you're going to get a ton of attention where they're going to want you back.
Yeah. And that's kind of what we're hoping, is to set up like Nashville as one of our main stops every year. We've been invited to 22 different states to do this. And, we just got invited down to Florida on the Florida-Bama line. They've got a huge deal down there, white sandy beaches and throwing a Herostock party. So
yeah, it's hard to beat.
I'm thinking like a January, maybe get the heck out of Nebraska here and go down there.
There you go. Yeah. Some little concert in the winter there.
Yeah, exactly. Texas has been begging us. We've got 5 or 6 spots down there that want us to come down. California, Washington, Colorado, like just you name it, and you can almost hit it on a map with a dart. So, we're looking this year. We're expanding. We're doing the 4 events. We're doing 7 nights, which is a huge jump going from 1 night.
Right.
So we're going to see how that plays out. We're also opening it up this year to the general public to come in. You don't have to be a veteran, first responder, or Gold Star family. We want to open it up to the general public. We are going to be charging for tickets for them, but it's going to be like a $10 ticket, and you're going to see 4 bands. If it's
I'll give you 20. Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's $10 and you see 4 bands or $5 a band. I mean, it's nothing.
Now, if somebody wants to just donate to the cause, they can do that too, right?
Yes. You can go through herostock.org. We do have a donation site on there. Give Butter. So you can donate right to there. If you want to reach out to me so you can get more information, you can do that too through Herostock. Yep, herostock.info. Man, you were right on it.
Man, I'm on top of this. Like I told you, the more research I did, the more excited I was about what you're doing, because I'm not a veteran, but I got a lot of friends who are. And man, what you're saying is there's things that they can't talk to me about, and I'm their friend. You know, we known each other since we were kids. And the idea of that old idea of therapy, sitting in a circle with chairs and everyone staring at each other. And I'm sure there's plenty of people that do get help that way. Right. But I imagine, I just put myself in somebody else's shoes. Man, if I'm in the right environment with the right people and there's other sensory things going on and we're bonding over tug of war or cornhole, it just lifts that veil right off.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. Yeah. And that's, I got to meet so many people last year. I don't remember half of them because literally I think I put on 14 miles walking last year during the event.
Oh, wow.
So I was here, there, and everywhere. It'd take me, 20 minutes to get 100 feet across the building.
Yeah, they sent you back to boot camp, huh? All that walking
around. Exactly. But it was cool, and I got to meet all these different people and talk to these different groups and find out more about, certain groups that do exist that I had no idea, and I spent a lot of time just scrolling Facebook, finding nonprofits, and I'd reach out to them. I'm like, hey, this is what we're doing. Do you want to be part of it? And, like I said, we ended up having 44 groups come in last year. And, to be able to all be in one spot and have all these veterans and first responders be able to mill through all these different groups and see what all is available to them. Because we had skydiving, motorcycles, hunting. There were some veteran support stuff, some mental health support stuff. We had the Corporal Dagan Page Foundation, which he was one of the United 13 that fell in Afghanistan during his family lives in Omaha, and they do amazing things in the Omaha community. They were there. We had a ruck group. We had there was just so many different things there, and it was all open to veteran and first responders, and there was stuff there that I didn't know about until I went through and researched all these different nonprofits. And I'm like, you got equine therapy, you got motorcycles, you got hunt and fish, and you got, all these different things that you can be a part of to put you in that situation to be able to talk about what you're going through and talk about it with people that understand what you're saying.
Sure. Or even make one connection to somebody that you could talk to in the future.
Yep.
I mean, it's just huge.
Yeah.
Jason, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's been incredible. It really has. And seeing the growth of it, the response from it, the amount of people that reached out and they're like, hey, we want to be a volunteer. Hey, we want to donate money. Hey, we want to be a piece of this. We want to donate this to you to raffle off. Has been really, really cool.
So if people want to do that side of a donation where they're donating their time or something physical or a package or something, that's where they would send the email to, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Perfect. Well, when we get off here, you've got to send me the list of the dates and let me advertise that for you a little bit. That would be my honor and privilege to give back to you guys. Jason, thank you for being a guest. I would love to have you back maybe 6 months, a year from now, and hear how some of the events went and just kind of catch back up. I'm sure by then I'm going to be hearing about it all over the news and Facebook, and I'll be like, yeah, I interviewed that guy. Yeah, right. He was on my show.
Right. So, he has to come on my show.
Yeah. But dude, I can't say it enough. Thank you for your service. If there's any other veterans out there, thank you guys for your service. And if you're able to, you should find a way to get to Herostock, because it sounds like it's just going to be an awesome event. Even if you don't want to get into the other stuff that might be going on or not going on with you, it just sounds like a fun time to be around like-minded people. So,
Yep.
Jason, as we close, is there anything you want to finish with?
My buddy Tom says it best: contact, care, and listen. We've got to do that with everybody. And, This extends past the military. It extends past first responders. If you see somebody that isn't acting like themselves, make sure you reach out and just make sure everybody's good. Because mental health is not just a veteran or first responder deal. It goes across the board. Suicide rates are at an all-time high, and they seem to be going up by the day. So we need to, as human beings, make sure everybody's good. Reach out to those people and make sure everybody's good.
That's so well said. Thank you for sharing that. Hang out 1 second. I'm going to say goodbye to everybody, and I'll be right back. Okay.
Cool. Thanks, Guy.
Well, there you guys go. Another awesome episode. I'm so thankful that Jason was able to take the time to connect with me and share what's going on with his foundation. There's going to be all the links in the description below. I'm going to try to get you guys all the info. If you're in his neck of the woods, or if you can travel there and support him, that'd be awesome. I'm going to be giving to the cause. I hope you guys do too. If you like content like this, be sure to like it, subscribe it, share this episode especially, so we can raise more awareness about this and give Jason just the biggest headache of his life, with having so many people reach out and make sure that he hits his goal and whatnot. So, but thank you guys. I will see you guys here next week for another episode of Sky the Service Guy.
Sky, the service guy, staying up late at night, doing podcasts all the time, talking about service, yeah, that's right. Yeah, we got the sales, do we got the knowledge to make a bill? We just paying bills, all we know is time